Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Everybody, Lionel with you. This is the other side of midnight and the Warriors Wednesday edition with my beloved Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors. I want to give people another. I might be doing this too much, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think younger folks might understand a little bit better of how this works, a little bit maybe, versus older folks. I want to give people an analogy as to what AI is and something that happened a while back. Do you remember at the time, at the first part of the 80s, maybe late 70s, when AIDS came about? Now, AIDS, I'm going to make an analogy, not so much directly to AIDS, but do you remember when people tried to come forward? Remember, there was Dr. Gallo and others who said, this is not a disease you're used to. There is no such thing as AIDS per se. There is the destruction of an immune system. You will die of an opportunistic disease, pneumocystis, pneumonia, or Kaposi sarcoma, or whatever it is. And people looked at you like, what do you mean? There is no AIDS. It turns off the burglar alarm. It allows other things. And people didn't really get it because it was on another level. It was a pathology. It was a disease, but it was something that was different. It was a virus, which in and of itself is not a living thing. Okay, step that and move this aside. Artificial intelligence is not the internet. It's not a website. It's not a robot. It's not an app. It's nothing you've ever seen before. Before you know it, it's going to become self-aware. It is going to be able to think on its own. And every child with every, let's say, pad or whatever these Chromebooks are, it will have the child's MO, understanding, idiosyncrasies. Each one will be adjusted to your child's emotional fingerprint. It's bigger than anything anybody has seen. And I can tell, and I'm sure we've been together when we've talked to people, and they look at us like, what are you talking about? Because it's that groundbreaking. This is not about, and by the way, let me also ask something, I don't mean to interrupt. This is not something you can fix right away. It already may be headed towards the cliff without the ability to stop it. I've said too much.
Yeah, you haven't said enough. But anyway, I will jump in here. First of all, we at the Warriors, we are pro-tech. We work with, let's get this out of the way, we work with lots of ethical tech people, good people, working on AI, bringing all this to the forefront. We live in a digital world. I always say it's not going away. All of us, we live on apps, we're ordering the food. Think about it. Your life is basically a bunch of apps, right? So none of it's going away. But we want, when it comes to children, we want some form of safety because the history of big tech, this is going back to now our studies that we have for almost 20 years that have come out recently. The history of big tech is it's always profit over people. So if that's their history, we don't believe anything they say now about anything, and at least the public is waking up. But this AI, this is something where we need, and this is I'm going to call this a crisis in America. We need AI literacy on every level, whether it's that newborn child as they grow up and they're 2, 3, 4, because we're seeing the AI has been, implanted in the toys this past holiday season. That's going to get bigger and worse. We have an administration, the federal government wants AI in the classrooms K through 12, which still nobody understands when I question and travel and ask teachers, students, parents, what exactly is this AI program for the country? It hasn't been fleshed out yet. that according to our own government, that we will be the global leaders and our children will. But what is it in the classroom? Teachers don't even know. What are they teaching? What will be thrust upon them? If we could use AI, and there are a lot of good things we know about it, the medical, the time saving, for a law firm if you're researching, but again, you got to vet that information. What is this going to do as a whole to children if this is thrust upon them? Again, when we had the history of how big tech affects, they're not giving us the correct information. They're not keeping people safe, and I get a lot of kickback. I'll say some kickback, not a lot. It's the parents' responsibility. I want to clear something up. All of this internet, digital, online,
the parents,
AI has been thrown at society. Nobody went out and chose all of this, okay? Do not blame parents. Yes, parents must become responsible, must understand what is going on here, must talk to their kids about all of this, must question schools and go in there and be part of their children's lives, okay? But stop blaming parents and say keep the government out of, because we are at a critical point where children would rather kill themselves because of all these mental health issues, exasperated by the internet. We have the studies, right? Then we need to do something drastic. And if we have to have a piece of legislation or we have to hold big tech responsible, which we should get into why big tech is allowed to do all of this, then we have to do something because kids are dying.
Well, one thing, too, by the way, we're talking to Lynn Shaw from lynswarriors.org. This is, of course, Warrior Wednesday. Without pointing any fingers, and certainly without blaming either the president or the first lady, but I know you and I looked at each other when we saw that picture of Altman and Gates and everybody, every big tech honcho sitting at the White House at a dinner. I thought, oh my God, they've infiltrated us. Do you remember when we were? And I don't want to play memory lane all the time, but we're going to do it. Remember SRA reading, where you would take a test depending upon your color, and you would get up and you would do independent study, and sometimes you do reading tests, and there would be workbooks. We had a workbook, and okay, fine. That was pretty benign. What if when we have independent study, your little Michaela or Jasper or whoever your child is decides that they're going to be part of a tutorial on something, maybe math, maybe whatever. And in the course of this, it is AI and soon AGI run. And your child is going to be hearing, in addition to whatever the particular subject matter is, thoughts on LGBTQIA and transgender and all of these other things that may or may not have any role whatsoever in reading. How is that going to be limited? How is that going to be watched and monitored? It's not. You're going to assume it's just part of the curriculum and, oh, well, move on. There's no regulation of this. No, you don't even know what it is. It's like you're eating something and you have no idea what you're swallowing, what you're consuming. And this is what we can't get across to people. You got to at least learn about it before you can object or ignore it.
Yes. And I'm saying, again, this has been thrust upon everybody, and it sounds good, and we're not blaming. We're not blaming the administration even. We're not blaming parents. We're not blaming kids. This is just here. And, on its face value, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Doesn't it sound good, Lionel? It's like, it'll help companies. It'll help kids. It'll help all of us. Just on face value. Let's not go into replacing jobs and it sounds great, medical. Okay, it'll root out cancer. It sounds great, right? But you always have to dig deeper. So I don't really think, and I'm talking top down, I don't really think people understand the implications of any of this. They understand, it helps medical, it helps science, it'll help us, so we can do more and more of whatever we're doing. But we're not realizing when something like that is built, for instance, on this non-existent human, let's go back to the kids now. This undermines children. They're forming relationships with their parents, right, with their siblings. They're relying on a machine. They're relying on something, a machine telling them how they should feel. This is your answer. This will stop children, we know this already, from engaging. Isolation. Now, I always like to say, children, those are our future adults, our future American leaders, and critical thinking. Because we know this. We see this already in all the schools and kids we talk to and college students now. Critical thinking is like a muscle, right? If you don't exercise it, it weakens, okay? Let me digress for a second, and this is good news. We have right now a lot. It's a grassroots movement. Now, nobody's heard about this because they don't want in the media, for the most part, to talk about any of this. We have grassroots parents who have opted out. It's called pen to paper. They want their kids.
Oh, I love this. I love
classrooms. We've been working very hard behind the scenes, as many across the United States, our coalition members, get back to pen to paper, pencil to paper, whatever you want to call it, crayon to paper, because everything now, we learned all this during COVID, the kids are issued government Chromebooks, okay? And everything, we bring them to class, we do our homework on them, but parents learned that you don't have to do it. Now, schools would say, absolutely, you have to do it. Oh, this is our school district rule, or you can go to another school. You do not have to. You can opt out. There's no law that says your child has to be on the computer. But what does that mean? If you have one child in the classroom of 25, they're going to feel left out. That's going to add more mental health harms. But they've come together, and it's been snowballing in the last year. Parents are opting out, and they're putting out their own toolkits of, okay, and teachers are even coming around, so they're giving assignments now in paper packets, they're calling it. And other kids are starting to see this, and their parents, and these kids want paper. Like, this to them is like a whole new thing. Wow, I've got a piece of paper, and I've got to use the pencil, and I've got to, so I like to say.
Can you believe what you're saying? Can you, 2026.
No, I can't believe it.
People are saying, I want paper.
Where we are, we got to talk about it.
I got to tell you something before we forget, and without naming names, of course, which you're not. Please tell to our wonderful listening family here your story about the cursive in a major, without naming the names, institution regarding cursive writing. Please tell that story.
You know, you're so lawyerly when you say without naming names. Without naming names.
Well, without naming names, gotta be careful.
I'm not naming any names, okay, about anything. Okay, now listen. Well, I did say Mark Zuckerberg, but he's on trial.
That's okay.
This is public knowledge. But
he's the defendant. He's a litigant.
I want to point something out, though, about Mark Zuckerberg. He may be on trial today, and Meta, but every company, it's not only Meta, it's all of the big tech platforms. I want to make sure. I don't want to just pick on Meta. They're all failing child safety. So
tell us the story. This blows my mind.
The story is, and I've heard this from a few different young people, that one in particular, a very prestigious university, again, here in the United States, and was told by the professor, stop using cursive writing.
Now, by the way, this is not a student, right? This is somebody who was a lecturer or something, right? Who was an instructor or something.
No, well, there's different facets here. So the first thing is different stories of actual students using cursive and professors telling them, do not use cursive because I can't read it and understand it. Not that they couldn't read the handwriting. They didn't understand cursive. The flip side is...
Stop right there. The professor.
Yeah, there's two parts to this
The professor is that not because you have a bad penmanship.
No.
I can't read cursive.
I can't read. And I would say... Well, wait a minute. I would say, well, how old about are these professors? And the answers I always got were, well, like on the young side. Okay, so now the flip side also is another student was told, a grad student, stop writing in cursive. You're confusing the other students, and they're getting anxious. That you're causing them anxiety because you're writing in cursive.
Stop right there.
They don't understand it.
Stop right there. Just I want this word anxiety.
Yes.
As you know, I'm an expert in arrest videos, which, frankly, you've told me on the side has concerned you because of my predilection and propensity for watching these hours on end.
Absolutely.
But one of the things I'm hearing, because I learned a lot from it, is the idea of that I have anxiety. I have anxiety. I must bring my dog on a plane because I have anxiety. I must take my edibles because I have anxiety. You don't understand? Anxiety. This is a palpable, tenable, actual, real condition as opposed to something that we all go through from time to time. Oh, no, no, no. So this person feels anxiety when having to read cursive because they can't.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.